Need some action anime filled with love? Here are 10 action romance anime you must watch. Let's go! Alright, grab your Japanese history books because we're in for some history. A regular high school kid, Yoshiharu Sagara, gets yeeted into the Sengoku period. Witnesses Hideyoshi Toyotomi die, saving him, and suddenly finds himself cosplaying as a feudal lord. But there's also another twist. The legendary Nobunaga Oda is actually a girl here, and so are basically all the historical warlords. But my guy already has the knowledge from playing Nobunaga's ambition, so he joins Nobunaga Oda's campaign to conquer Japan.
で、織田に仕官したいんだって。
ぜひ信長様に。
This show totally nails the clever aspect of keeping secrets while trying to act helpful. Every choice Yoshiharu makes carries that serious don't blow everything up energy, yet the story keeps things fun without being too heavy. Fan service pops up, but honestly stays in the background, and the characters, even though they are gender bent, just like the Fate Grand Order series, actually makes the whole romance action setup feel engaging.
こんなやつ道場に比べたら全然遅い。なめんな！
In 1989, Japan passed the Media Betterment Act, letting government soldiers destroy any problematic media. To counter this, regional governments formed the Library Defense Force, an armed group literally protecting books. Iku Kasahara joins after an NBC agent tried taking her favorite novel in high school, only to be saved by a mysterious LDF soldier she never forgot. Years later, she enlists hoping to find her savior, but her drill instructor Dojo seems personally dedicated to making her suffer.
は単なる規則無視の無鉄砲バカだ。そいつもやめた方がマシだ。
やめてよ、ちょっと私の王子様に。
Library Wars is basically, what if we made a military romance but the stakes were books? And somehow it works. Kasahara carrying the weight of being the first woman in the task force, while secretly crushing on the guy who won't stop yelling at her, is genuinely entertaining to watch unfold. The will they, won't they tension between her and Dojo hits those satisfying beats without dragging forever. And there is some nice action in the middle of all of it as well.
そして今、たまりにたまったそれらはテレネッツァさんという火種によってついに爆発することになったのでした。
Scarlett L. Van Diemen is a noblewoman with one very particular problem. She'd rather solve everything with her fists. So when problems happen, she becomes One Punch Man, and this lady has got some serious problems. She has an awful fiance, second Prince Kyle, and she has to stay with him just to maintain her family's reputation. She finally snaps when he publicly humiliates her at a ball, accusing her of harassing his new commoner love interest. Engagement canceled, dignity bruised. Scarlett ditches the whole noble act entirely and becomes the Mad Dog Princess again. She punches everyone in the room and decides to live life on her own terms.
最も面白い珍獣だからな。
If you've seen enough villainous anime to last a lifetime, this one actually earns its spot. Scarlett isn't your typical scheming noble lady. She punches first and negotiates never, which is genuinely refreshing. Julius teases her while she beats people senseless, creates this weirdly entertaining dynamic where the romance sneaks up on you without ever overshadowing the chaos. It's absurd, it's funny, and somehow it all works together. Seriously, this is how you should do a romance action anime.
狼の牙にひとときの休息を、そして悪魔に死の鉄槌を。
1920s America. Demons are running wild and someone's got to clean up the mess. Enter Sister Rosette Christopher and her demon partner Kurno, working for the Order of Magdalene to exterminate demonic threats across New York. Sure, they get the job done, but the collateral damage trail they leave behind is something else. Beneath all the chaos, both carry heavy baggage. Rosette's brother Joshua was kidnapped by the demon Aeon, who also has a dark history with Chrono. The more they hunt demons, the more personal the mission becomes.
ロゼッタ。
レミントン牧師、いつお帰りに？
Chrono Crusade starts slow and genuinely feels generic at first glance, but then it just pulls you in and doesn't let go. The story has no plot holes, a complete ending, and subplots that actually matter. What really sells it, though, is Rosette's and Chrono's relationship, two people who'd throw themselves in harm's way for each other without a second thought, and watching that bond deepen across the series just hits differently. Oh, and go in this with a tissue box in hand. Katana Gatari is set in Edo-era Japan, where Shichika Yasuri practices Koyoturu, a sword style where his own body is the weapon. Living in exile with his sister, his quiet life gets flipped when the ambitious strategist Togame shows up, demanding his help to collect 12 legendary deviant blades for the shogunate. Shichika agrees, though honestly he's more interested in Togame than politics. Together, they travel Japan facing deadly sword wielders and rival factions who want those blades for themselves.
言葉通りの意味だ参るキエ
This one's a slow burn, but in the best way. The real highlight is watching Shichika and Togame bounce off each other. He's the deadpan island hermit who takes everything literally, and she's this dramatically overconfident strategist whose plans fall apart constantly. This whole chemistry is what builds the show. Apart from that, you get these nice action sequences in each episode too, and it has this swords plus martial arts mix you never see in a lot of anime. Yes, it's dialogue heavy, but that dialogue actually earns its screen time. In a world where vampires rule the night, humanity's only defense is a dying breed of bounty hunters. D, a Dampier, is basically someone with the strengths of both humans and vampires, is hired by the wealthy Elborn family to rescue their daughter Charlotte, who's been kidnapped by the powerful vampire lord Mir Link. Alongside a ruthless band of mercenary hunters, D races against time to reach Charlotte before Mir whisks her away to Vampire Castle Carmelia.
ハンターとして死んだ者に墓があれば
やめてよ冗談なんだから
I'm a huge fan of vampire shows, and when they deliver what I want, just like Hellsing did, I feel like these kinds of shows are the best genre has to offer, and this movie does the same. The animation alone makes it worth watching, fight scenes so sharp you'll rewind them just to see how good they look. But what keeps you invested is the characters. Each hunter carries personal baggage that slowly surfaces throughout the story, making you genuinely care about people who are technically competing against each other. The plot sounds straightforward until you realize there are actual emotional stakes buried beneath all the vampire slang.
どこから来てんだよくらえ
Mirai Kuriyama is the last surviving member of a clan that can weaponize their own blood to hunt Yomu, creatures born from negative human emotions. Her life gets complicated when she stabs her blood sword into a classmate named Akihito, only to discover he's an immortal half Yomu who just won't die. What starts as Mirai repeatedly trying to kill him for confidence practice somehow evolves into an actual friendship. The two, along with siblings Hirumi and Mitsuki Nase, form a literary club that's basically a front for the Spirit World Warriors.
栗山さん
Koyokai no Kanata doesn't reinvent the wheel. Supernatural girl meets immortal boy, they fall in love, classic setup. But here's the thing, it executes so well that originality stops mattering. The animation carries scenes where characters just look at each other and you somehow understand everything without a single word spoken. Man, this has some nice action for a romance anime. Or it has nice romance for an action anime. You get the best of both worlds. Wu Liqui is an amnesiac bounty hunter with telekinetic scissor technique and shape-shifting abilities who looks terrifying on paper but is genuinely terrible at actually killing people. Accompanied by his bird companion Daibo, he works as a hairdresser by day and a freelance assassin by night, mostly to pay off debts. His real goal, though, is to recover his lost memories, and somehow every failed job keeps pulling him closer to his buried past.
俺は何者だなぜ俺を殺そうとするんだ
データによるとそれはあなた
This This show is basically One Punch Man's humor fused with Mob Psycho's 100% warmth, and that combo slaps harder than it has any right to. Instead of completing hits, Wu keeps accidentally fixing people's lives, reuniting separated lovers, patching broken families, talking about someone off the ledge, simply being a decent human being who actually listens. The show never shoves this in your face either. It just lets Wu quietly be good and trusts you to notice. I know this doesn't have that usual anime style animation, but give it a go. You'll love it. Grand Crest Senki drops you into a continent torn apart by war after the Great Hall tragedy, where a demon lord crashes what was supposed to be a peace-sealing wedding and murders the leaders of both factions. Amid the chaos, Mage Seleucia Militis crosses paths with Theo Cornaro, a crest-bearing warrior with zero political allegiance but a burning desire to free his hometown from a tyrant. She contracts herself to him, and together they fight through chaos-infested lands trying to piece a broken world back together.
私シルーカ・メレテスは騎士テオの聖員と契約し
Yeah, the setup hits familiar fantasy beats, the chosen warrior, the magic system, restoring peace to a crumbling world, but here's the thing, it all works pretty well together, and this has a small Game of Thrones feel to it. Theo's goal never feels abstract because you're constantly reminded of what he's actually fighting for. Seleucia dragging him into political messes he nenever asked for keeps things moving at a pace that'll have you reaching for the next episode before the credits finish, and you get some great action along the way too.
あれが本体ってわけね。
後ろだ。
Crimson denizens from a parallel universe are quietly draining the life out of humans, leaving behind nothing but fading soul fragments called torches, remnants that will eventually vanish along with every memory of their existence. Enter Yuji Sakai, your average high schooler who gets yanked out of his boring routine when he's attacked by one of these creatures and discovers he's already a torch himself. His unlikely savior is a fierce red-haired flame haze warrior with blazing eyes who hunts these monsters for a living.
なんだこれ僕の中何かやめ
What really hooks you here isn't just the action, it's the existential gut punch of the premise. Imagine dying and having every person forget you ever existed. That's genuinely unsettling, and the show builds on it by actually taking its time with characters. Side characters get proper backstories, motivations make sense, and Shanna herself goes from mysterious girl with a sword to someone you actually root for. Yes, it's slow in the middle and leaves plenty unanswered, but sometimes the questions are more fun than the answers.